All right, final battle is tonight, and joining us right now is the Gatekeeper Kelly Klein, who has a opportunity to get that coveted Women of Honor World Championship, and she's joining us right now. Kelly, what is going on? How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Welcome to the High Spot Podcast here, part of BodySlams.net. So this is a title that's, I would say, has eluded you for a while now. What would it be like to win that title in the backdrop of New York City tonight at Final Battle?
Well, I feel like it's something that myself and a lot of people really expected, for me to end up with this title and not end up with it, but earn it and go after it. Right now, I'm just setting things right. I'm just preparing tonight to, you know, set something right that went wrong in New Orleans, and for it to happen in a historic venue and such an amazing city is, I think, really fitting because it is just one of the biggest matches of my career. It's the biggest show of Ring of Honor year, and it's the biggest match of Women of Honor.
You don't get the one-on-one. You get a four-corner survival match. It's going to be the champion, of course, Sumi Sakai, yourself, Madison Rayne, and Karen Q. So your chances here about like 25%. Just your thoughts into going into a match like this.
Well, I don't really consider it 25%. I think there are a lot more variables that go into it, which would put my percentage quite a bit higher. Uh, I don't think that everybody has the same opportunity. I think that Sumi has shown that she is intimidated by me, and that's why I haven't been granted a one-on-one title shot, and I haven't even gotten an opportunity at all to have a rematch until now. Uh, Madison Rayne, I've had a history with her. I am familiar with her. I have defeated her in the past. And with Karen Q, she has done a lot of things to really skirt the, just having to face me. And even the one time that she claims she has a victory over me, she didn't pin me or submit me. So I feel like my track record speaks for itself and puts me at a much higher probability of victory. And if we're speaking mathematically, then I won't say 100%, but I know very well that I 100% will be coming out victorious.
Sumi Sakai has had that title for a very long time now. We're talking about maybe 8 to 9 months now. And like you said, you haven't had that one-on-one. But if you just were to do a scouting report on Sumi Sakai, the champion, what has kept her the champion this long?
She does a really great job of finding allies, and that's something that I've spoken on before that I disagree with some of the women, hugging and holding hands and acting like they're buddies when the truth is that we're there to compete. And I think that Sumi knows that, and maybe she's gotten these other women to think, oh, she's sweet and nice and she's my friend, but Sumi has done what it took to keep that position, including not granting me a one-on-one rematch. She, has been able to do that, where I've been very honest and straightforward, and I'm here to compete. I'm here to win, and I think everybody knows that about me. But I don't need to, pretend that I'm friends with people just so that they'll have my back. I don't need that, and I don't want that. I want to accomplish everything on my own merit.
The women's division, Women of Honor, and just everywhere in every wrestling organization, when you take a look at it, it's very deep. Your thoughts on just the competition in the Women of Honor division and just in wrestling in general right now? It's as deep as it's ever been. If you look at in like WWE, Impact Wrestling, just your thoughts on just this past year of how women's wrestling has evolved, not only for Ring of Honor but just everywhere in wrestling in general.
Something that I find very interesting is that if you look at the rosters of the major companies now and you compare them to 3 years, 5 years, 10 years ago, you see a lot of the same faces, but you see them now in these different combinations with different companies. So you have these groups of women who have all these different backgrounds and have a lot of different types of experience. But now we have women. So in Women of Honor, for example, we've got women who were born and bred in the Ring of Honor system. We have women who have you cut their teeth in Japan. We have women who have backgrounds in WWE, in Impact, and all over the world. So I think that's true really everywhere, in every major company right now, where we've just got all of these women that are working together, and it creates an interesting dynamic because everybody can learn from each other. So instead of keeping everything separate and having different women only from one company in each company, but starting to see this crossover and sort of mixing things up, I really think it gives everybody the opportunity to get better, to learn more, to become stronger, and it helps every division to become more well-rounded.
It's been history-making year for women's wrestling, like we were talking about. Of course, with the introduction of the Women of Honor World Title. Talk about just what you see the future of women's wrestling in Ring of Honor, the Women of Honor.
Over the last few years, we have gone from rarely ever seeing a woman on a Ring of Honor event at all to having women's wrestling matches occasionally, and then to having women represented in every aspect, whether it's commentary, wrestling, managing, interviews, almost every single event. So that just shows how far we've come, and that's something that has continued and is going to continue. We're going to keep seeing this improvement in the exposure and the inclusion of the women. And I think that's just going to help everyone step up their game, and it's going to give more women opportunities, which is going to help everybody. Because then, again, we're going to have more people with different backgrounds and experience levels all in the same locker room, in the same ring, and whether we're friends or not, we can sit there and watch each other and learn from each other and pick things up.
Let's go back really quick. Supercard of Honor. You were the heavy favorite, I believe. I was talking to my co-host, and we were like, "Yo, Kelly Klein's got this. It's in, we thought it was in the bag." Just your thoughts of competing in something that history making. I know you fell short. Don't want to really rehash the past, but just want to get your thoughts entering that night. You advanced. You made it to the finals. Just that thought of one day carrying that Women of Honor World Championship around your waist. Like, what are your thoughts? Do you look ahead? Do you think about that, or is it once I get it, I'll let you know how I feel?
I think that it's hard to say how you'll feel about anything, just because for me personally, I'm always just really focused on the here and now, and when I have deviated from that, I feel like I haven't been as successful. So I think that I have been focused on doing my best and always doing better and representing myself and the company I wrestle for to the best of my ability. So that's not something that's going to change. And whether I have the Women of Honor Championship or not, I am now carrying myself and making an effort to be a really strong face for the company. And when I have the World Championship title, I will continue to do that.
We're talking to, of course, Kelly Klein, the Gatekeeper. You can follow her on Twitter at Real Kelly Klein. Thank you so much for giving us a few minutes here on the High Spot Podcast, Kelly. There's a huge boom. It's been a history-making year in professional wrestling. And, of course, one of the main things going to 2019 is going to be the G1 Supercard at Madison Square Garden, selling out MSG in the amount of time that Ring of Honor New Japan did, history-making. I know you right now you don't try to look ahead, but once you heard that it was sold out, how much do you want to be a part of that WrestleMania weekend? Or just a great time for wrestling. But when you heard about that, what were your first thoughts?
One of the things that I've always enjoyed about traveling and competing with Ring of Honor is the opportunity to wrestle in some historic buildings and historic cities, and then to work with people who have been a really huge part of wrestling. So this is just another opportunity to add an extremely significant venue to the list of places that I've had an opportunity to work.
And can you believe just how far wrestling has come as far as not having to be a WWE in order to get all this attention and to be able to sell out an arena like MSG?
I think that's wonderful, and that's something that most people probably 10 years ago just kind of would have written that off, and a lot of wrestlers, I think, at that time just thought, there was one way to make it, and that was your only option. So this is definitely a testament and an example of how far wrestling has come, and that happens because of the people, the wrestlers, the production, everybody involved, the fans that have brought it here. And this is just such an amazing example of the opportunities that are now available.
You've called yourself, kind of like a loner. You don't want anybody's help. You kind of want to do it on your own. That's a mentality that a lot of people have kind of taken to, and you see now there's certain female wrestlers on other rosters that have kind of taken that and taken it to the next level. When you look around, is there anybody else that you would like to mix it up with now that's not currently on the Ring of Honor roster that you look at and you're like, wow, it'd be awesome to one day face that opponent?
The two that immediately come to mind are Jazz and Madison Eagles. And they're both women that have really inspired me just throughout my entire career. Madison Eagles is, I think, the first female I ever saw, maybe the first female I ever saw wrestle, and certainly the first woman I ever saw live. And she was just somebody that I remember watching and really getting that confidence that there was a place for me, even though at the time I was looking around and the women's involvement was few and far between. And she's somebody that didn't take the, I guess, the sort of stereotypical path. And she has really, made herself just her own person and her own product in an amazing way. And then Jazz is somebody that I thought that she had stepped away from wrestling and that, I wasn't going to have an opportunity to work with her. And so now that she is, she's back and she's working and she's calling people out, she's accepting challenges. I'm really excited that opportunity may get to present itself now.
I mean, Cody and Nick Aldis did a great job promoting that matchup at All In with that 10 pounds of gold for the NWA World's Championship. And now, of course, Jazz has the women's title. That would be great. Do you think social media has done an amazing job this past year in just building feuds, building, a fandom to wrestling? Do you think it's been a boost this past year, the use of social media?
I think it has for the people who know how to use it. I think that there is, like with anything, it's a tool and a resource that can be very helpful and very beneficial. And when people know how and when to present certain things and make sure that the right people are able to see things and get involved in things. It's just another aspect of wrestling where the fans they want to be able to get involved and be part of it and have their voices heard. And of course, we need them to, because without them, we wouldn't be doing this. So having that as another opportunity when we can't necessarily get in front of fans live, but we can interact with people there is, I think, something that can be really a great thing.
So if you take a look at the card for Final Battle, it is one of the best cards ever, and the fact that the Women of Honor World Title is going to be defended is amazing. This is a matchup I'm looking forward to. My co-host is looking forward to watching. 2018. Can you believe it? We're almost towards the end of 2018 now. That's crazy. Your goals for 2019. I don't know if you set them or not, or if it's something that you're like, oh, we're still early. We still have a few weeks left in December, but do you set goals for yourself in 2019? Like, what is it that you want to accomplish? What's in store for Kelly Klein as we head into 2019?
I want to wrestle some people that I have not gotten to wrestle. I want to wrestle in front of fans that I have not gotten opportunity to wrestle in front of live. And in order to do that, of course, I have to just continue to sort of develop and evolve who I am as an athlete. And I've been doing that. I want to continue to do that. And I want to be able to bring more content and be able to interact more with my fan base. And I am working on some projects that will allow people maybe a little glimpse into who I am in a different way than they've seen before. So I'm really excited to bring some of those projects to my current fans and then some of my future fans as well.
Yeah, I always think that's good to do because you need the fans always need to relate, right? That's what causes the fans to cheer for you or boo you. They need to relate somehow to you. So I think social media is great, and what other projects you do, we're really looking forward to seeing what's in store. If you win or when you win tonight the championship and you become the face of the division, what do you want fans to know right away that Kelly Klein, what does she represent when she becomes the Women of Honor champion?
I am somebody who, according to many throughout my career, was never supposed to get to where I am. And I defied a lot of odds without compromising who I am. And it's important to me to show that you can find out who you are and you can embrace that and you can be that to the fullest and you can still succeed. And if you just follow what makes you happy and what brings you passion and you go for it and you stay determined, then you will find a way to get where you are supposed to be.
And before we say goodbye, and again, thank you so much for your time, I just want to play a little word association with you. I want to give you like a few names here, and I want you to tell you what's the first thing you think of, whether it's one or two words. So, of course, we're talking about the boom in women's wrestling. You mentioned a few stars that that you would one day want to mix it up with, but here's a couple of names, and maybe you can give me one or two words and just your thoughts here. So, of course, not only do you guys have an event coming up, tonight, there's also another matchup on the weekend, and everyone's got to be impressed of Becky Lynch. Just your thoughts on the Becky Lynch and how she's taken her character.
It's really funny because I just was thinking you're going to ask me about Becky. She is somebody who is so nice but didn't let it get in her way, and she stood up for herself, and I think that's awesome. I respect that.
And how about somebody like a Charlotte?
She's somebody who I think about her legacy, but she also didn't let that hold her back. That's something that could have boxed her in and pigeonholed her, and she didn't let it. she has made a name for herself, and I really, as much as it can be a big shadow to live under when you're a legacy like that, she has outshone it.
And finally, you've done wrestling in Japan. How about your thoughts on Asuka?
Asuka is, trying to think of the word. She's so unique, and she she is she comes off to me as so genuine, and I love that she is so genuine and passionate in her uniqueness. And I think that's what makes her special and what makes it work, because she's not trying to be somebody she's not, from what I see.
Yeah, obviously, it's great to get your thoughts and opinions on other female performers because of course you've got that reputation and of course you've got that resume, and that's why it's so good to hear your thoughts on other female performers. But we want to wish you the best of luck. Although I don't think I think luck is for losers, so we're it depends on if you want to take it or not. But tonight it is for the Women of Honor World Championship, a four-corner survival match. It's going to be the champion Sumi Sakai, the Gatekeeper Kelly Klein, Madison Rayne, and Karen Q. Will be the show stealer of the night. And we want to thank you, Kelly, for joining us here on the Hotspot Podcast and BodySlam.net.
Thank you so much for having me.